You betcha. No problem. If you have any questions, just let me know. You bet.
It's really windy out there.
It's good though.
It's probably ready because I was out there grass.
Why I keep all the papers and flying.
Okay, you all ready to start? All right, call the meeting to order at what? We got 3:17?
317.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to read the minutes of the previous session?
Yes.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve them, please?
Motion to approve.
They're more of a verbatim recitation than normal, and I don't know if they actually state every single thing that was said. This is the unusual form. I'll still second it, but I just want to add that to
Okay, all right. There you go. Motion carried, I approve. Did you get that, Kurt? Okay, we have correspondence from Linda Benton.
Yes, they would like to, the Relay for Life is scheduled June 10th on the square. Weather permitting, they wanted to see if they could reserve the Demugio Center. And I told her what our rates were, and she wanted to know if the Park District would be willing to work with them on that.
What did the school say? You saying, ask the school about that?
It's us.
It's us?
Yeah.
How long do you want to rent it?
That's an all-day affair.
Yeah, and she's wanting, I think, us to give them some sort of discount on the fees. Because I explained to her what the fees were, and her response was, do you think they would give Relay a break? Do you know if it would be available on that day for a backup? And then she was just
for a
asking.
backup?
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't necessarily want it, it's just gonna be the weather. Mhm.
Is it available?
Yeah,
And what kind of discount do you think we should get?
that's up to you guys to decide. I know what we've talked about in the past.
Bob, what do you think? I know what I think. What do you think?
it. What's the rate?
40 for the first hour and 30 for each additional.
And do they independent, I mean, they're raising it strictly for, it's strictly a fundraising thing?
American,
Because any sort of
American Cancer
direct
Society,
payment to them that they would retain?
correct.
And if it's strictly 100% for fundraising, then our practice in the past has been to permit them to use the facility.
You agree, Lloyd? I do too. You got your answer.
Well, I think we should.
You want to make a motion on that?
I
Okay,
suppose
Bob,
so.
you want to make a motion to let them, Relay for Life, use the building on, what was it?
June 10th.
June 10th? And as a backup?
Yeah.
right?
Waiving the fee.
Waiving the
Because
fee.
it is strictly for fundraising purposes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait. I do too. Okay, good. We received a letter from Paula Campbell. Did you get it? You got it?
Yep.
Okay. I would like to read it. Do you want to read it, Reggie?
If you have it with you, I didn't print it out. Got it?
And then and then I'll give the answer that I gave her. Got all kinds of stuff here. Here it is. My mouse.
Okay, this is from Paula Campbell, and it is on Friday, April 21st. Dear Park Board, I have a few concerns with some of the decisions made at the March Park Board meeting after reading the minutes. My first concern is the new $35 fee proposed from the Park Board to CHS for lining the soccer, baseball, and softball fields. The state is in financial crisis because they haven't passed a budget in 2 years. This in turn is affecting school districts. Not only does the school district need to figure out how to have a balanced budget without the state funding promise, but come up with at least $2,000 in field expenses for their teams to play at the park, while the park district chooses to spend $29,250 on water slides for the pool. In my opinion, this is not the time to be making costly updates to the parks or pools. This is a time to maintain, focus on the most urgent needs, plan for updates, and incorporate them slowly. I asked the question, has the Park District taken into consideration all the help the community, booster clubs, and others have contributed to the Park District, and specifically to Loveless Park, when making a decision to charge CHS? In my limited knowledge, I know Soccer Boosters has paid for field lights, made donations to cover grass, seeding, fertilize, split the cost of updating the scoreboard. Carlinville Youth Soccer paid for tiling of lot field, softball, baseball, helping to paint dugouts, providing soaps and toilet paper, in bathrooms, softball boosters helping with the cost of scoreboard, and I'm sure the list goes on. Another point to think about in the fall, lot field needs to be lined for rec games. Therefore, lot field will already have the lines painted, but now CHS will be charged for the upkeep as well. I feel I'm building a good cause to reconsider billing the school for games. More open discussion should occur to evaluate and consider options to make the use of Loveless Park by CHS programs cost-effective for all involved. In response to the comment in the minutes that a huge positive response on Facebook about the water slide at the pool, of course there is a positive response. Who doesn't want a water slide? Those responding are not aware of the cost and strain it will put on the park district's budget and how you plan to recoup those costs. Example, charging high school teams to line and prepare the fields. In the minutes, there are a lot of anecdotal, sorry, I can't say that word, comments that leads a person to believe there is no real budget analysis. Example, more parties due to closing earlier. How many parties the past 2 years? Expected income from additional parties. What has the profit from concessions past 2 years? Average profit margin per item. Should there be different, less, or more options for larger profit margin? Is the admission price an increase at $4? If so, what additional revenue will it bring in? These questions lead to a business plan to estimate the rate of return to profit. Based off of reading the minutes, I see no real business plan, just lots of anecdotal thoughts. Carlinville Park District should not be profitable, but fiscally responsible. I'm not sure what has changed over the past several years that now during a budget crisis for the school district, the park board has decided to add additional fees. Is there not a way we can work together to ensure there are no additional fees to the school district? Many communities like ours, whose high school teams use community parks, work together to help line fields, work the dirt, and so on. Is this not possible? I've heard and don't know if it's true that the park board feels its liability for non-park employees to work on the fields. It seems reasonable, but there would be some give and take to this, possibly allowing the coaches, players the ability to rake the field in or line it. I feel the park district is here to serve the community, and yet it feels like it's serving only itself by not involving the community and showing a sound budget to justify new charges. Concerned parent of school district, Paula Campbell.
Are you expecting something, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so I wrote an email back. Paula, several days after we made that decision, we saw in the paper what the superintendent said about the crisis affecting the Carlinville School District. We then changed our minds and discussed with them as we will not be charging them. We have been in many discussions with the school system about various things, and this is just one of them. As far as purchasing the slides, we have noticed an uptick in more people wanting to come to our pool this summer. We have never in the past, nor will we in the future, purchase anything that we cannot afford that would put a strain on our finances. Our mission is to upgrade all the facets of the park district now and in the future. We have had many people congratulate us on how the parks have looked and what we have done in the past to upgrade things. As far as what people and organizations have done to help us, we are aware of that and surely appreciate it. Last year, Take of the Town worked all day at Loveless Park. I, for one, helped repaint the inside of the restrooms at the park this year, that year, and I will be helping Take of the Town, and we're going to paint the dugouts on the high school soccer fields on June the 3rd. It was supposed to get done last year, but it rained on that day. As always, thanks for your concern. Glad that I've had the opportunity to set the record straight. Larry W. Smith, President. Now, some people don't know the whole story, because when I was in talking to the superintendent, when we was talking about taking over the Musial Center, he and I was talking about this. And he looked me straight in the eye, and he says, I'm surprised you don't charge us for this. And you haven't charged us in the past. Because it is an expense. I said, yes, it is an expense. So anyway, as things went on, after this went in, the school has told us to let them know in the fall, and they will put it in their budget. It's not going to amount to a whole lot of money. Loveless Park is not a money maker for us. Loveless Park costs us a lot of money. So therefore, then she talks about the budget and the money. We get our tax money in August. And as of last month, in both banks, and when we got money, we got $154,550. So therefore, we're not spending more money than we think that we needed. Now, this is more than enough money to carry us for May, June, and July, and August, the tax money will be coming in. we have been watching this very carefully, and we want to really expand the parks and do a lot of things. I, for one, would like to see a slide over at Tower Park, and it's not there yet, and maybe someday we'll have one there. And over at Denby Park, we need another set of swings over there. That swing is arcade, it's old, we need to take it down. A lot of people don't know what we did last year. You know, within the last 12 months, we put on a roof over here on this building. We put, what, $18,000 into the pumps and so forth over here at the pool, all right?
That's right.
We had a handicap swing put in at Loveless Park. Half of it was paid by the Children's Care Corporation for the Elks. They was nice enough to pay for half of it. We bought all new swings last year for all the parks. And we're looking at more things, so.
Parking lot.
Huh?
Parking lot.
Yeah, in the parking lot, we put in a new parking lot over there, and hopefully in this fall, we'll double it. So we have more parking out there. So, anyway, I just wanted to set the record straight on that. Any comments from any comments, Bob, or anything?
I mean, the long and the short of it is, to her point, we're not charging the fee that she was worried about.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
If budgetary considerations
Yeah.
change
Yeah.
with the school district
They
and the park
will
board,
want to pay.
then like with any other entity that uses these sports facilities that cost us money to maintain, you know, we will reconsider charging them at that time.
That is
As
being,
of right now, they're not being charged.
that is being fiscally responsible. Okay, public comments. Matt?
Okay, I'm back this month because, as you recall, I did not have the FOIA response last month, and Bob was working diligently on that, and the timing just didn't work out. So I do have some additional points from that response that I want to address to the group, and appreciate you putting it on the agenda. I'm going to do a handout here because I don't expect everybody to remember this. This is the rebuttal. I think Bob wrote this.
Yes.
And so, you know, I just want to make the point. I mean, I wish this would have been made public without having to do a FOIA request, because it wasn't just me. This was written on behalf of a large group of taxpayers, and I think it would have been helpful in the spirit of transparency and communication to have had this rebuttal more than what was written in the paper, which I didn't feel was a fair, fair summary of the points that were made. So yeah, and I've got serious issues with about 6 of these items, but I'm going to narrow it down. I'm just going to narrow it down to 2 that are to me are current.
I gave away my copy.
I got
You have
more.
an extra?
I've got more.
No, I think we have more.
Okay. Here.
I got it. Sorry.
Anybody else want one? I've still got 2.
Randy.
Okay.
Okay, we good? So anyway, so I'm going to narrow it down and just pick on 2 of them, maybe 2.5. Point 4. So basically, at the time this was written, this was back in over a year ago. It was said that, okay, we understand there's going to be traffic funneled back towards a concentration of kids because of the gate. No matter where where it was then, where it is now, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're funneling traffic back towards kids that could have potentially gone out the park without going by as many kids. So the question is, I mean, so the response to that was, that's why we're going to open the gate when there's high attendance situations there where there's going to be more traffic. So I'm just asking what changed, because now we put it, according to the paper, that gate is permanent. It would have been a barricade except for the first responders' concerns. So I'm just asking what changed to now we aren't worried about that traffic going back towards the kids?
I can answer that.
Yeah, we did.
The location of the gate has changed that, and the reason for that is when the gate was at the far end by Walmart, there was only one way to enter into the entire park. And so if it was closed, then you had all of the traffic going into the center and then circling right back out the way that it came.
Okay.
Now, the effort to alleviate that issue when there was a substantial number of cars and sports participants there was to open, so we would have 2 access points and 2 exit points during high traffic periods. The decision that we made to move the gate now facilitates 2 entrance points into 2 different parking areas. One of them is the large square-shaped parking area that's in the middle of the park.
Right.
The other is the new parking lot that we added over by Locust that we do intend to double in size this year.
Okay.
And then we also added some additional parking along the sides by the pavilion.
Right.
And so now you can get in on either side. Now
Okay.
you have to walk. You know, if you come in on the Locust side and you're trying to go to CMB Field, you'll have to park and walk across.
Right.
But that resolves the issue.
Okay,
So-
fair enough, okay. I wanted to make sure I understood what changed, and that more than answers the question. So, the other thing that I really do have, I've had an issue with since the beginning, and I don't think bicyclists have been thought of for any of this, and that was, got a visual aid here.
So you're at point number 11?
Yeah, let me double check that. Yeah, so got a couple examples of. So let me show that to the camera. There's one. Okay. These are ways to build gates that allow, I don't know if you want to call it egress, whatever, bicyclists. I mean, as far as the rebuttal's written, let's get off our bike and go around, I think that's kind of ridiculous. It's a park. There's ways to build these gates that don't totally block bicycles. I've seen people going around the new gate. It's not safe. I've wiped it going onto a sidewalk on a bike, and that's what people are doing, and it's not a good situation, besides the fact that the sidewalk should be for pedestrians, not bicycles. So I think that, another sign how much thought was really put into this. So, here's to me 2 very viable options that were, either not explored. I mean, I could understand on the first gate, because you slap that up in a hurry, somebody was going to get killed. We've heard all that. But for the new one to not have any additional bicycle access is, to me, kind of ridiculous. So, like I said, I've got more, but I'm just, at this point, just it's an academic exercise. So,
and Matt, just so you understand, this is about the bicycle, but this was produced to you and your FOIA response.
This is
right. And I just wanted, because this is literally what I wrote.
Right.
This does not reflect
that's all I
every
have.
one.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
I understand.
There isn't something else from a different board member
Right.
that goes through the 12. This was so in the event that this reaches public consumption, I just want to make it very clear that, and I don't know that anyone disagreed with any of my opinions on any of these points, but this is not a board response to the 12-point memo. This was a Robert Douglas response.
Right. Yeah. This was from the FOIA request. These are specific. These are what I think were meant to be internal emails in some certain situations, but. That's what I have to go off of, and I just, that one really, of all the things, I mean, that one really gets me, the bicycle thing. So
I just want to make it clear that these were my thoughts, and they don't necessarily represent
right.
what, on a point by point. Obviously, we ultimately did agree that, in weighing everything, to do what we did.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I really can't say that every single member of the board would agree with all
Oh,
of
sure.
my statements here, so.
No, I understand.
Matt, I've got a question. What do you suggest, how we would put that in?
How you would put those in?
Yeah.
That would be part of the design of the gate when it was built. I mean, you built a new gate.
I mean, since the gate is up, that's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not saying it can be done now. I'm saying I made this concern known over a year ago, and you built a second gate without, that's just Google search stuff. I mean, that's standard, that's standard stuff.
If you did make that, I wasn't aware of that personally.
That was one of my points. That was I handed this out at the city council meeting.
It was,
Have this out, did
no,
you?
no.
Oh,
No.
okay. Okay.
His 12 point, or not his, it was from the Bluffs.
Yeah, it was, I mean, yeah, obviously, you guys understand, I mean, I wrote a lot of that, but that was not just by me, and that was not on just my behalf.
Right.
That was a taxpayer block making those
He
suggestions.
did raise the bicycle issue. This was.
I understand that.
Right, okay.
No, I didn't make those specific cases. I was just making the point, we have no way for bicycles to go through there. I didn't get in,
Yeah.
At one point, I was told the city was looking at a safety committee to talk about this kind of stuff, and that would have been a perfect time to bring that stuff up. No, the community wasn't involved in any of this, and we get a gate with no bicycle. I mean, that's where it is, and it's too late now.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're aware how the gate looks. Say come from your way off of Locust, facing the gate. Off to the left side, which would be the south side of the gate, got the pillar. 2 mounds of dirt there. The mounds of dirt I put there because people was driving their vehicles around.
Well, of course they're gonna drive around it.
Well, they haven't since. But here's my point. On that side, which would be the south side, if we get rock in there and we oil and chip it, wide enough for a bicycle to go through there, will that solve the problem?
I don't know, maybe, it'd be something. I mean, right now, there's no good solution. I mean, you've got the sidewalk right next to it, so you'd have to squeeze it in between.
Well, we got 12, 15 foot there.
Okay, yeah, you know better than I do how much.
I'm guessing 12,
Okay.
good
Yeah,
12.
yeah, I mean, it's something to, if there's still a way to resolve it, that would be great.
Right there.
And I was gonna say the same thing.
I think so.
I think there's room to build a bike path around.
Oh, there is, there,
There's plenty.
on that side.
Okay, well, we'll look into that.
Okay, great.
That's a good idea, man.
All right, thank you.
Handled pretty quick.
Okay. Here's another email. This was a Reggie email from the FOIA request. I didn't count those. I'll just, if you don't have enough. And this, some of this is the city. This isn't, there's a lot of I don't think I'm the only one that's confused where, the lines have been blurred, city, park district. So this is partially my forum to air grievances, whether it's city, police department, park district, whatever. So
So, I mean, I might be able to help with that too.
Okay.
So, because it will, the context of, for example, an email from January of 2016 would be different from something in 2017 because of the progression of the way that it happened. And I understand when you say the lines were blurred, because initially the way that this started out was, it was presented to us by the city as though it's a city decision.
Oh, yeah.
We want you to make a recommendation to the city. You were at those meetings.
Right.
They got up
I was
and
at
made
some
a
of them.
recommendation, and they voted on it and all that kind of stuff. And then I think, so that was in February maybe, or January of 2016. I can't remember when that was exactly. And then we were gonna have a period that would expire, I think, in August of 2016 for the evaluation.
it was originally going to be November. They moved it back to August, I think.
The city did that.
Yeah.
We thought it was gonna be till November, then the city said we want to do it in August, which we did. And then our recommendation stayed the same. And at around this time, and I don't have a perfect chronology of this, but around this time, there began discussions between the park board and the city, not gate specific, but Loveless Park generally. It seemed to us that there was some confusion based on intergovernmental agreements and resolutions as to who actually controlled the decision-making with regard to a wide variety of things that
Right.
were going to be done at Loveless Park, including the parking lot that was put in the fall.
Right.
And so we wanted clarification on those, and there were discussions between the city and us on that. And then ultimately, and you're aware of this because I've heard you talk about it before, at a city council meeting, maybe it was in August, maybe it was in September, Rick Bertonetti said that based on his review of what he looked at, that it actually was not the city's decision to make future decisions on the gate, and kicked it back to us.
Right.
Then, at which point then we were making the decision starting probably in early to mid-fall 2016 forward, and that's why you don't see any discussion in city council meetings about moving the gate, putting the gate where it is now, because I don't want to say that they granted us the authority. They made the determination that it had always been our authority.
Right.
So,
Right.
anyway, if that helps
Yeah,
clarify the blurring of line, because it has been confusing.
Well, and that's part of the blurring, because I think that, my problem with that decision is that it's been one way for 25 years, and all of a sudden, oh, we didn't dedicate this road. I mean, well, and that's not even all of it. I've got more documents that prove one way or the other. I'm not even going into that today. I mean, I think his opinion's wrong. I think it's dead wrong.
and I'm not even getting into the merits. I'm just telling you, that's,
Yeah.
and because I did notice on some social media posting and comments, maybe in the newspaper, where people were confused. Like, for example, was it city funding paying for the gate? Where it was not.
Right.
It was park district funding.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you're right, there was some confusion. So I wanted to, hopefully
Yeah.
that helps with some of that.
Yeah, and actually the specific thing on here is more of a philosophical thing. The part of that, Tim Hacera said himself, it will be a matter of time before they were destructed, and then the entire park will be shut down on both ends. Okay. This is hearsay. I don't know if Tim really said this. City attorney tells me he shouldn't be saying that, but then it's not illegal. So the issue here is the attitude among public bodies in the city that everybody is accountable for the actions of a few. That's what needs to stop. It's not even a legally valid concept. If that really happened, there'd probably, in my mind, there'd be a lawsuit and the city would lose, the park board would lose. Catch the perps and leave the punitive measures out of this. We the people own that park, the street, and the gate, and you work for us, not vice versa. I mean, that's the basic concept here. That's standard stuff. That's just the way life is. So I'm just tired of this whole attitude. Somebody took our speed bumps, we're gonna take it out on everybody. I mean, get the people that did it and leave the rest of us out of it. That's, okay, so now we're to the last one. There's a lot more stuff in that FOIA request. I don't think it's productive to bring up some of the other stuff that's, to me, frankly, embarrassing, but this one is gonna get brought up. And this is my last point. It's a long one. This is Exhibit A of why FOIA is important. Park Board should be commended for following the law in regards to FOIA. Some of the stories I've heard about FOIA, some public bodies don't comply. Some leave pages out intentionally, hoping they won't get caught. Some use incorrect search terms intentionally when searching databases or emails. Some just don't respond and miss deadline after deadline that they're legally mandated to follow. We might know one group that seems to be doing that. But Park District is not that group. So here's the actual email dated July 5th, 2016, that led to why I'm here today, why I was here last week. That this was in the minutes, but it was, there's no possibility of transcription error. That was the word last month was, well, when you see this results, I don't think you're going to think it's as bad as it seems. Well, I mean, I think it's worse. So, instead of, Larry, first of all, I want to ask you again, did you ever remember who told you this? Okay.
Now, wait a minute. Now, let's back up. What happened, that happened in April.
Well, yeah.
That happened in April.
Well,
when that was put on Facebook, right?
Yeah, the initial event that I know of was in April.
But then, it was August when I brought this up.
Right, exactly.
So, no, I told you last month. If I know who told you, You know, I tell you.
Well, the reason I thought you might have remembered is because you're saying there was 2 visits in this email. This is the first time I ever saw this. Nobody knows what these 2 visits are. It wasn't a second visit to me. So you understand why that's worse. If it really is 2 visits, why it's worse. Because that officer did not realize the mistake he made, and he did it again. If this really happened this way, I have no idea if nobody knows that I've talked to. But the thing is, what if that second visit was to somebody else? Because you do say employees, plural. I don't know who else it'd be, but let's just theoretically say this second visit went to somebody else there. Maybe that person really did get intimidated and shut their mouth from that point forward. I mean, it's just, it's more the same but worse to me. So then if that person did, if the person that told you this made it up for maybe they made it up for effect, maybe it's not even true, but so and the good thing is the city attorney's told me this behavior is not going to happen anymore, so that's a good step. I wish it was more than me just reporting that, but so and then the next part of this, you say you discussed this with an employee and they said something about that this is not what I or whoever the other employee is, if there is another one, should be doing. The employee also supposedly told the person in charge about this and nothing had changed, okay? So I'm not going to even ask you who the employee was that you talked to. I'm not even sure. I don't know if it happened. If it happened,
It happened.
it happened, okay.
Yes, it
The problem is we have precise policies that protect freedom of speech in regards to politics. So that needs to be a teachable moment for whoever told you that. That is not kosher. And then the other part of this is if you had done this with another employer that didn't have these types of policies in place, that wasn't so protective of civil rights for their employees, you'd be the one doing the intimidation. And maybe that's not as big of a deal as police intimidation, but it's still very wrong. You say in that email, your opinion is that when in business, you do not bash your customers. Larry, you don't have a clue. You are not my customer. No public body is a customer of a taxpayer, okay? You don't exist without me, and I am your boss, not the other way around, okay? So I think it's pretty clear based on the stuff in this FOIA response, especially by this email, you have no business being in charge of a public body. You don't understand basic civil rights. You treat your taxpayers as peasants who need to bow down to your authority or we lose access to the streets and facilities that we paid for. I do think you bring valuable knowledge and expertise to this body, but I would ask that you immediately step down as president and never hold an executive office in any public body ever again. And the last thing I want to say, this meeting last month has had 900 views on YouTube so far. You did say you wanted more people to come to the meetings, and this is the next best thing, I guess. So. That's it.
Thank you. Now, I got a question of you in the minutes of the last meeting.
Okay.
Put in there, it says, Larry, if somebody disagrees with you, you have a tendency to use your power. There's nothing here that I've ever done that isn't approved by the members of the board.
Okay. Well, they said they didn't even know that the police had visited. I find, that kind of contradicts with this email. I mean, I understand, I don't always read an email word for word, but I mean, you're not.
I know you have a problem with it.
Yeah, I have a problem with you trying to use your authority in ways you are not allowed to do by the laws of the state of Illinois. That's what I have a problem with. I am for following the law.
You made your point. Anything else?
Nope.
Do we have anything from Kraft you want to talk about?
No,
Okay.
he didn't request, he was offered an opportunity to be to appear today, but we resolved all of his issues by agreement with him and the watchdogs, and so that is resolved. We responded to all outstanding FOIA requests, valid, not valid, but that the watchdogs have asked us to respond to, and that's that. So.
Okay, Treasury report. Has anybody had a chance to look at the Treasury report yet? I did. Okay. Any questions?
Someone's got room.
Okay, make a motion.
No, I didn't read it. Yeah, well, I can go through it right now. But
Yeah, well, why don't you
If
go
you,
through
if
it?
the two of you have read it,
Yeah.
you can do the requisite.
This here has to be taken out.
Well, if there's
Yeah,
something that
maybe-
needs to be modified, then we shouldn't approve it.
Hmm?
Is there something that needs to be
No.
modified?
No.
Okay.
No.
Is baseball income, is that where the charge, well, the signups are separate. Is baseball income one of the fees we
Yeah,
charge for
that
field
goes-
usage?
Yes, that
Not
was
to
from
the
Brian
school,
Knopf.
obviously, but
Yes,
to a
correct,
team.
that's from
Right.
Brian Knopf.
Which, just so people understand, that's a non-rec team. The rec teams pay for access to the fields through the registration fees. Select teams, private teams pay a fee to use prepared field for games because of the equipment and materials. Okay, that looks good.
Motion.
I'll move.
Motion by Ralph, second. By Miller. Yeah, I agree, so everything passes. Okay. Maintenance report, Jeff?
We've got 4 loads of dirt. We had 4 loads of dirt brought in, and we had on the basketball court. Randy's already, I believe he's put one load on the CMB field at this time. We have mulch also. That's Loveless on the entrance of the east side, where Lori and her sister was there. And also Tom Thumb and Denby as well. And then we've also been staying up with the other 3 parks as far as the 3 fields. The games as best we can, the rain we've been having. And then now we're starting our process on the pool now, getting that painted on the inside.
Most, I don't know if the public's aware, but we've been, for a couple of years, we've had a lot of problems with the, I call it the baby pool, I don't know if they call it the wading pool or whatever. Had a bad water leak somewhere, about a year, sometime last year, we had through the company out of Indiana, they set us up with a leak detection service, and I believe they were out of Champaign, I believe. They come down and use an underwater deal to listen for where there's leaks. They pinpointed a leak, the only leak he could find anywhere, and he told us where it was at. And then he reported back to the company in Indiana, and in turn, they was in touch with Jeff, and I think I was probably there when the guy called. And he gave an estimate, not a written estimate, but a close guesstimate of what, because he had the plans of the pool and whole works, of cutting the concrete out and putting some new piping in where it was broke and fixing it all back. somewhere around about 80,000. Ooh, a lot of money. Well, I opened my big mouth and I said, I think I can fix it for a lot less than that. So yesterday, well, sometime in this winter, we had a bunch of good weather, and I had a friend of mine come and cut the concrete. And yesterday, I jackhammered the concrete out, got down to where this guy said there was a leak, and obviously there was a leak, a busted pipe. I've got it, I had to go a little bit farther than what I wanted to, and that's what I'm doing as we speak, or was doing as the meeting got underway. I've bought all the parts shy of probably a couple bags of Sackcrete. I'm gonna be able to have it fixed for under $200 instead of 80,000. So I think that leaves a lot of money in the coffers, and we'll still have a baby pool. Hopefully within a day or two it'll be finished, and we'll start scraping and get ready to paint if we ever have dry enough weather. But I just wanted to report on that this estimate of 80,000, in my book, it wasn't worth spending over 80,000 on that little pool anyway. It would have been better just to fill it in with sand and let the kids have a big sandbox to play with. But it's, anyway, it should be up and running by the time we get to the point of opening the pool this year, and hopefully it stays full of water. Still, like last year, we had to fill it every day.
Randy, what do you think caused that crack?
I'm thinking what probably caused the crack was water was retained in there and it froze, because it's only about a foot underground, the pipe is. I'm guessing. I really can't see any other reason why it would have, and the reason the water was retained in there because the valve was shut back off after it was drained. You gotta leave the valve on so the water stays out of the pipes. Because when it rains, it still goes down in holes. And if you got enough rain, enough snow or whatever, melting, it'll fill the pipes back up, and then they're full of water throughout the winter. And they're only, ground level, basically, a foot under. And as we all know, it freezes, and that's happened at least 2 full years ago, might have been 3 winters ago. A full 2 years, but with calendar-wise, but this would have been the 3rd winter. And this winter, I don't think anything froze to speak of, but other than that, that's the only thing I had to report over and above what Jeff did.
Do you want to discuss the lawn more, and I can go over the figures if you want to?
Yeah, that's a question. What did the Lions Club do out of Tom Thumb?
They went over there.
And for your all information, Tom Thumb is, the Lions Club has asked to do all the upkeep of Tom as a commitment to the community.
And they did the backstop last fall.
Yeah,
And then also I think they spread the mulch
yeah,
that
Yeah.
Randy brought up there
Yes.
to them.
yeah. But they didn't do anything else? Didn't
No,
have to do no
that
painting or
day-
anything? They
That
did
day
that
it
2 years
was
ago.
raining just a little bit.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. And talking about sand, did you tell me that out at Loveless Park in the bathrooms, there was 2 inches of sand that somebody threw in?
Yeah, unfortunately, by the pavilion there on the south side. I went in one day to clean, make sure the bathrooms are clean, and somebody brought some sand in there over the weekend.
Out of the volleyball
On the
area.
volleyball.
And it was that deep on the floor, the whole bathroom.
Completely full.
Who did it? We don't know. If it was little kids, grown kids, big kids, old kids, whatever.
20-minute
Obviously-
project turned into an hour and a half.
Okay, Reggie, go ahead. We can talk about the lawnmower.
Well, you guys.
Well, I drive the John Deere, which is a gasoline lawnmower, and I'm probably going up to Shell Station repeatedly, sometimes twice a day.
We don't have a gas tank. We have a tank on our trailer for diesel, and which our diesel mowers, they run 6-7 times longer than the gas does. We did purchase that new mower last year, at the first part of the year. Actually, we purchased the year before. I think we got it in April this past year, I believe. And it is
It was
just,
2016.
yes. And anyway, it's such a pain in the rear to keep gas in it every time you get going, then you gotta stop, you gotta go back over to the shed and use the other 2 cans, then get the cans up and get them filled up again. And Like I said, sometimes he's going to the gas station twice in one day to fill them up, and then come the next day, first right off the bat, he's gotta go fill them up again, you know, to keep it going. So we have looked into a different lawnmower,
The diesel.
through John Deere, since this is only a year old, and it would be the best trade-in value. And then Reggie has and we had a lot of problems with it last year. We wasn't able to use it much. We'd use it for 25 minutes and then die. And then finally to get it started, they couldn't figure out what it was. We had it in the shop numerous times, 15 times. Finally, I just took it over and told them to keep it. They couldn't get it fixed, give us a new lawnmower. Well, they went ahead and fixed the part that I suggested to fix. Boom, they fixed it, got a new piece on it, a seat switch, and anybody that's got a ride lawnmower, it's a safety switch. They put a new switch on. We haven't had trouble with it yet this year. But anyway, that's immaterial.
I spoke to John Bullion, in the price of the one, they have a demo that they're trying out just to see, get the feel of it, is the price of it's $19,800. We get a 12% discount. So that would put us at $17,640. They are giving us an $8,500 trade-in on what we currently have. And so the difference would be $9,140.
Now, the new one they got a price on is a diesel. And it's
Yes.
the biggest jump, that's the one that we have. We got a price on the one that we can't get it till next year. But anyway, the one that we're gonna trade for, well, what we're looking at trading maybe, is the biggest lawnmower, the biggest tractor part of the mower that they make. It's still only got it's still got the 72-inch cut mower deck, but the body of the lawnmower is the biggest one John Deere makes, as far as the lawnmower, which is a lot more durable, I guess you would say, but it is a diesel and not the gas. Because everything else we have is diesel. Our lawnmower, our tractor, of course, naturally, our truck is a
And we owe less than
Rob, you got anything to say about this?
Oh, what you're talking about right now?
Yeah, I don't either. Because that new lawnmower, that thing costs us $12,000. Right, 12,000?
It was close to that, I do believe.
Yeah. And then he's giving us 8,500, we just used it one summer, and it depreciates pretty good. I think we should table that for now.
And that's fine, we just wanted to bring it up. 'Cause
Yeah.
I thought about it, and I said, well, we can't do it, we can't even discuss it unless we get some prices. There was another one for next year, the next year model, but there was a different price on it. I don't know if Reggie had that price or not.
because he couldn't have.
Oh, that's right, he'd have to guess that, because they don't have the prices on the next year's model, which is the same size
It's just
lawnmower
like
we
we
have
have
now,
now, the
except
diesel.
for to have a diesel in it. It's not the big tractor, so to speak, tractor.
Okay, I have something I should have brought up under correspondence, because I received an email from Dee Dee Miller. She's the co-chair for the Alzheimer's Association, I guess, here in town, and they're having a benefit. They're having a fundraiser at the Elks on July the 29th, and she was wanting to know if the Park District could donate anywhere from 8 to 10 day passes over at the pool for their bucket raffle.
I donate passes, I've donated post-prom, I've donated to breakfast with the bunny, to
Those awards,
soccer season, and all the players got one. So that's not a problem at all.
No,
I don't mind.
Okay, so do we think we need a motion on that? Are you going to do
That's
it?
within the discretion of the administrator,
Oh,
based on past
how are you going to
practice.
give 8 to 10 or just 10?
There's, I
Let me know
think, 12
that.
on a sheet.
12?
Mhm.
Okay, because I'll see her tonight. I get another meeting tonight, so. Okay, good.
And then two, did you see the correspondence? I think I gave everybody a copy of it from Coach Johnson.
Yes.
And that's just his request for summer soccer at Loveless Park.
Oh,
There are some where he's requesting the fields be lined. And that's up.
And this is all high school affiliated?
Yes.
It's in with the waiver that we're providing.
Well, on the 24th, that's the alumni soccer game, and then the youth camp.
That is, they have donated some paint
Yes.
So basically, we wouldn't be buying paint.
I mean, if they're willing to paint the
Anyway,
field
so-
for the boys camp,
Yeah.
that would be the only one I'm assuming that they charge for camp participation,
Yes.
keep the money,
Yes.
which would not be consistent with our practice of exempting
Right.
charging for facilities to people who are using them for purely fundraising activities for charitable organizations. But if they're charging and we're not incurring a cost in the process, then we're not losing any money on it. So then I guess it would be all right.
Yeah.
Plus, it is high school affiliated, and we're waiving these fees for
Well,
them because of the
the
budget
what
right
was
now. anyway.
filled, the Monday, the June 26th, Thursday, through Thursday, June 29th is youth soccer, and it's not affiliated with CHS.
Which one's this?
Monday, June 26th through Thursday, June 29th.
Oh, I see, not affiliated.
Yes. And he's got helpful requests one time prior to Monday, field mode and line when that's up.
No, then they have to pay for that. I mean, if that's a private revenue generating soccer camp,
Yes.
then we're not gonna subsidize a private revenue generating soccer camp by providing all the materials and labor and depreciation on our equipment to do that. At
So
least
it's
that's
gonna be a
that's my
$35
position,
fee.
that's my position.
$35 fee for,
Because that would make it inconsistent with charging a select team for a baseball field.
Right.
We can't pick and choose, so.
so it's $35 for 2 hours.
And then, Tuesday, June 13th, 20th, 27th, July 11th, 18th, 25th, it's 5 versus 5 soccer league. He's wanting both A fields, that's not affiliated with CHS.
Saying they have to pay.
Okay.
And he wanted to come, but he was unable to, so he emailed me this at the last minute.
I mean, if he's got, we'll just tell him that that's our policy, and if he has questions about it, he should ask us, and it looks like we have a little bit of time on some of this stuff to
Yeah.
communicate with him further about it if he has questions, but we just have to make sure that what's consistent with the policy and what we're doing right now for the school is followed, and what's consistent with what we would charge to any other private group, charging fees or what have you, that we are
Sure.
subsidizing that activity.
I'll let him know.
Okay. There's nothing under old business. I don't think we have anything under business. Okay, new business, referee training. Everybody's good as that.
I can address that.
Okay.
There was an incident, incident is probably a charged word, but something happened at the Demusio Center, and at indoor soccer. We've had 2 incidents this year, to my knowledge,
Yes.
where parents have been asked to leave the premises, based on arguments with referees or belligerence with, I think Jeff may have had a challenging conversation with a parent, based on rules that are required to be followed at the Demusio Center, many of which rules are not ours, they're the schools. And there was one incident where there was comments directed to a referee, and the referee responded in a way that I would not say was overly inappropriate, but it was certainly something that came off in the heat of the moment exchange. And so we need to make sure, as we all know, parents get more and more, you hear more and more stories about this, about parents getting deeply emotionally involved in youth athletics. I've been guilty of it myself. I certainly, if anybody went to any middle school basketball games this year, they heard me give grief to some referees from time to time when I didn't like the way the play calls or the calls were going. But we need to make sure, because this is becoming a more increasingly prevalent part of youth athletics, that we are very, very specific with our employees to make sure that that inappropriate comments are not made back to parents. We have to make sure that there's a protocol set. And this isn't a statement about, I wasn't there, I don't even know what the parents said, I do have a good idea of what the referee said in response to the parent, but the way that it is there's almost nothing that a parent could say that should cause a referee to respond with any sort of inappropriate language, or an overly agitated response. We just have to make sure that they understand that the way to do it is to perhaps stop a game, particularly a clocked game, walk over to the park district employees on premises, say, this happened, that needs to be dealt with. Then the park district employee, whether it's the administrator or Jeff, or if one of the park board members happens to be there, then we go address the parent privately, so that it takes place outside of the earshot of the kids that are participating in the sports. It's not good for them to hear it, and from either the parent or an official. And so we just need to make sure that we have an agenda, and I know that we do have some training, but I believe our training perhaps is outdated relative to what referees are being confronted with these days. And to make sure that we need to change our training to make sure that they understand what the protocol is. Because I don't think we have a protocol in the training that says, if X happens, you do Y. And we need to spell it out for them in greater detail. And so that's what this is about. The parent that contacted me will remain nameless. But that parent was very reasonable and rational, and was not seeking any sort of adverse action be taken against the official, but the parent was more concerned about ensuring that these types of things don't happen in the future, and I think that there's a way to do it, and I think we need to do it. Everybody's human, officials and parents alike. We need to do what we can to try to contain these situations, because it's just going to get worse. And that's the way youth athletics is going.
So what kind of training are you talking about? I mean,
Developing a protocol for dealing with any sort of,
you're gonna develop that?
I mean, and I can work with Regina on it.
Regina,
Yeah.
develop
That's
it.
fine.
We also
We can-
need, I mean, we have the same issues during the summertime with umpires
Yeah.
and parents, so
The
it's
protocol can apply to
Yeah,
every
it's
sport.
gonna
It's not just a
apply to
soccer
every
protocol or a, I mean,
outdoor soccer.
although you might have situations where a parent might come onto a field in outdoor soccer, would be that, I mean, you're not gonna see that at a baseball game most likely, you're not gonna see it at an indoor soccer game. Maybe there's little types of tweaks we could make for the protocol that we make part of the training. For the most part, it's gonna be the same basic rules. And even up to including to the point where a decision has to be made to call law enforcement. But again, that decision should be deferred to the park district employees on all premises, not be directed by the official unless it's a really emergent, uncontrollable situation. So.
Anything else in new business?
And, well, the other thing that I will say is I know that the park board administrator has spoken to the official that was involved in the incident and has already told that official, this is not how we're gonna handle it going forward. So, it's been addressed specifically, and now we're gonna address it generally going forward so that hopefully we can curtail it.
Okay, under busy good of the order, we need to remove Michelle Tabersi and Dale Chapman from the financial accounts at Carlinville National Bank and United Community Bank. So, and I went up speaking to them, spoke to them, and so they said, it's all I need is a letter from me asking them to be removed. But we need to have somebody else on that checking account, and I talked to Lori, and Lori said she'd be tickled to death to go on the checking account.
Tickled to death. You're excited about very different things than I am.
Well, so that's all right with her, so Lori, maybe Friday, are you busy Fridays? I don't know how busy you are during the day.
Friday should be okay.
Yeah, we'll get together on the time, and then we'll go to the banks and we'll get that all done, everything like that, okay. Anything else, anybody want to talk about anything yet?
The only other thing that I had was executive session material,
Okay,
so.
I want to ask you a question. You said you would like to come on the board?
Yes.
Okay, are you a senior in high school?
Hey, Larry, can we do that thing where he identifies himself?
Oh,
Just
yeah, I'm
because
sorry. Wait, I'm sorry, identify yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm Logan Turley.
We all know that. It's just for the future recording
Mhm.
that we take at the meetings.
What are you gonna do when you get out of school?
Nothing is set in stone yet. Nothing
You're not
set.
going to college?
Not necessarily not going to college. It's all up for question right now. So nothing's set
Okay.
as far as anything after high school goes. So
Okay.
When will you know?
not sure.
Okay.
Well, nobody's got anything?
No, just,
And, okay, I'm gonna ask for an executive session. And then we'll come back. Hmm?
Give me the recorder.
hmm? No.
Like for you for that.